Hello and welcome to Miss Whitman's classroom. I'm Miss Whitman and I'm going to try my best to quickly walk you through some of the things that we'll be doing and seeing in room 203 this year. Let me make myself smaller real quick. Okay, so a couple of items of importance on this form or this slide. You'll see my email address over here. If you need to reach out to me at any point, that's probably the best and quickest way to do it. Normally at an in-person back to school night, I would ask you to fill out an index card with the information listed on this image. If you'd like to email me and send me those items, I would love it. No pressure, but I'm especially interested in that fourth item, something you want me to know about your child as a learner or as a human being. I always enjoy reading what parents have to say in that regard, and also it kind of helps me to teach them better sometimes. So thank you in advance for anyone who might be inclined to do that. The quick rundown, I'm going to talk about all these items in the next few minutes, and I'm going to not even read them out loud because I'm going to run out of time. All right, so a little about me. I did my undergraduate education at Franklin and Marshall College. I was an English and Spanish double major, and then I proceeded to the University of Pennsylvania for a master's program in higher education. And after that, I worked for a study abroad company for a few years before becoming a teacher. It's been a kind of non-traditional path, and I'm very thankful for it, and I think it's informed the way I teach, and it's also helped me to grow in unique ways. So yeah, that's kind of my journey. I want to mention that I kind of believe that a classroom should be, I don't kind of believe, I fully believe that a strong classroom is one that is built on a foundation of love and care for each other. And so I tell the students on day one that I love them, and I try to show that every day in my actions and my behavior toward them, and I want them to develop relationships of care and respect for their peers as well. I think that in developing those relationships, we become more equipped to learn and more eager to learn. And so that's kind of a big starting foundation for my classroom. I don't want this to be a dictatorship. I want it to be a place where we all love and care for each other, especially when we're doing something as vulnerable as sharing our writing, for example. I'm also a big proponent of encouraging my students to embrace their weirdness, to a point, obviously, but I think that when many middle schoolers are feeling that pressure to succumb to societal norms, sometimes the best thing they can do is to kind of fight back against that and to embrace what makes them uniquely them. And so we spend a lot of time celebrating what makes each of us weird or unique, and I imagine from these pictures you can see that I also like to embrace my weird. Curriculum-wise, in writing class, we'll be focusing first on narrative writing, then we'll move into the literary essay, so argumentative writing, and then we'll conclude with a research-based informational writing unit. So we'll try and cover all the bases there, while also focusing on grammar and poetry throughout the year, and also on some of those everyday writing skills, how to write a thoughtful and articulate email, how to write a thank you note that actually is, meaningful. So those are some skills we'll touch upon as well. In language arts class, we'll do quite a few class reads. Initially, we'll start with a realistic fiction novel to kind of zoom in and hone in on our reading strategies and just making sure we all understand what it means to be an active and engaged reader. We'll also be doing independent reading throughout the year, which I'll kind of monitor, and then we'll also be reading lots of other texts related to different cultures, different ways of life and experiences that I hope will prompt some quality discussion among us. Anything students might be looking for almost always can be found in Google Classroom. I'm going to run out of time, so I just quickly want to mention, if you want to pause and read this more thoroughly after you can, but I want to mention as far as assessments go, with the exception of benchmarks, I really encourage students to resubmit and revise work if they feel that they can do better. Sometimes the first attempt isn't the best attempt, and so if students want to come back after a test or a quiz and try again, I welcome that and encourage that. I also want to mention that I really emphasize self-advocacy because students are in 6th grade now, and it's a good time to start standing up for yourself and speaking up when you need help. And so I would encourage you to kind of try and encourage your students in that regard. Try and encourage them to, when they have a problem, seek help, be resourceful instead of just relying on you to solve the problems for them. If you want to communicate with me, email is a great option. We can also video chat or meet in person. I send out a regular newsletter. Oh, regular is probably not the right word. I send it out intermittently, but I send out a newsletter from our classroom called The Tea from 203. If you didn't get the first edition, let me know and I'll happily forward it your way. You can also follow me on Instagram at Wonder Whitman if you're interested in getting some little updates about what's going on in our classroom, highlights, things like that. I have two favors to ask of you. One is just that you engage in literary experiences and conversations with your child. Ask them about what they're reading, read with them, read to them, tell them about what you're reading. There's nothing more valuable than that in a child's growth. It's just exposure to literature and continued reading. The other favor I would ask is that you be a curious student of your child. So when they come home from school and they tell you, oh, their day was fine, whatever, maybe ask some of those follow-up questions that might allow them to teach you about what they're learning, because when they teach you, they learn it even better. I can't tell you how thrilled I am to have your kids in my class. They're awesome, and I really love them. And I'm really thankful that I get to have such a cool job where I get to engage with kids at the time when life is kind of tumultuous, the messy middle. And so thank you for entrusting me with your children during that tumultuous time, and I hope that I get to meet all of you in person very soon. Thanks. Bye.